I'm going to call the October 14, 2025 Commission meeting to order. Invocation. Sure. Danny said I had to do it. I was going to wait until Thanksgiving, but dear Lord, with heavy hearts, I want to lift up the families of Louis and Mijo. Marion's wife passed. She was what I call a pillar of the community. She was supportive of the kids all her life. Went to school with her son. Had a bunch of daughters and another son, but I remember Marion when I would be going to work at the fire department. She was always walking on School of Mines, and she had a lot to say. She had a partner, and they were just chatting away, enjoying life. So she rests in peace. At the same time, I want to reach out my young cousin, Irvin Gonzalez. He's one of those guys that learned from his dad to get up and go to work and do the right thing. And he always did. And he battled with cancer and didn't work out to his benefit. So for that one, I got to say it. Go Steelers, because he was a Steelers fan. So, may they rest in peace and give their families some comfort. And for the rest of our community, let's just be nice to each other and take care of each other. Thank you. Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico and as a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Roll call.
Chairman Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Vice Chair Craig Civitero.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner John Aguilar.
Here.
Commissioner Danny Monette.
Here.
Commissioner Philip Montoya.
Here.
We have a quorum. Item number 6, approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion for Commissioner Monette and a second for Commissioner Montoya for the approval of the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Agenda is approved. Approval of minutes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion for Commissioner Montoya and a second for Commissioner Aguilar for the approval of the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Committee and department reports. Have any verbal ones? Anybody? See the written ones?
No, sir.
Acknowledge managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The first one I want to go over is going to be the ORC and gate receipts. So we talked about this briefly, but this one we now, Socorro Consolidated School District has taken the official action to be the first school district in Socorro County to approve the ORC memorandum of understanding. What this now entails is the ORC is basically buying out all of the gate receipts for all sporting activities for the remainder of the year. This means that all sporting events at both the junior high and high school at Socorro are going to be free to the students, to the parents, and to the community. This is going to have the ORC the ability to have anti-opioid messaging there. It was a 5-0 unanimous vote by the Socorro School District. And so all of the paperwork has been submitted off to the ORC for payment, which we hope to have. Hopefully we'll have it made in time so that senior night, Friday night at Kitty Castaneda Field, we can pack the stands for the senior boys on their last games. We are currently waiting for the Magdalena School Board to adopt the MOU. And we currently do not have any communication back from the Alamo schools pertaining to whether or not they wanted to engage in this program. So we have all of the messaging off to them, and hopefully they'll be reaching back out to us.
Sure.
With
I have a question. Who did you reach out to, Alan?
the superintendent. And we actually had Adrian do communications with us as well, that we sent out the text messages and we're waiting on them.
Okay.
With SB3, happy to say that we have our neighboring counties. So we have Catron, Sierra, and Torrance, that they have all voted to have Socorro County act as the SB3 designate to go forward with everything. We have the letter from Alamo also supporting Socorro County acting on that. Later this evening, we have it on the agenda that we will talk about a little bit more in depth, as well as some of those action items that will come later once we develop the plan going forward for that money. But we just did receive notification from the state that they have bumped up the allocation from 50,000 to 60,000. So this will be good for us to get that up and running. The next one is capital outlay. So there has been discussion throughout the state that they are going to start peeling back capital outlay money that has been expended and giving it back to the state. We're kind of a good news, bad news situation on this one. In other words, because we haven't been awarded very much capital outlay over the years, we really don't have anything that can be clawed back. Currently, there's about $50,000 that could be clawed back, but it's such a minimal amount for those projects that at this point in time, it's not going to hurt Socorro County.
What projects, if I may ask, that's a 50?
So the 50 is actually going to be for the detention pond in San Antonio, but we'll be able to go ahead and once BLM ever takes action to approve that land sale, then we'll actually be able to get the funding through Colonia's project, so we won't be hurt by that funding through there.
Thank you.
With Magdalena, this is going to be one that just came up the last couple of days. So the village had been doing their own GIS mapping for 911. The problem is they had never actually visited with the state about that procedure, and so they were doing it incorrectly. The state recently came down and is basically telling the village they're now acting inappropriately, and they are stripping the village of any and all ability to do their own 911 mapping. So that will be taken over by the state as of this morning. And the state is looking to get into an MOU later on to have the county's GIS department do it. So for now, we have approximately 100 to 125 addresses in Magdalena that are questionable. We have our GIS department that for any new individuals moving into Magdalena, they're going to be able to come to our GIS department to do the 911 mapping while the state figures out how to handle all of the previous ones and how that's going to happen there. Of course, all weekend long, you got the updates pertaining to the washouts, the road issues that have been going on throughout the county. So we still have our road department out there right now addressing the majority of those washouts and those issues where we actually had individuals stranded because the road's no longer there. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Question in regards to, sorry, for me.
Sure.
Pertaining to overtime for the road department, what is the status at this point?
The status at this point is we're trying to keep a careful eye on it. But when we have emergency situations, a plan is put into effect and overtime is approved. Once that plan and we know where they're going to be heading and what the work that they're going to be doing. So we just paid this morning when we ran payroll, we did overtime for that work. Specifically, we included this weekend's work. They're on CR 91 as well as on El Centro.
Okay. So did we redo the policy and procedure in-house in regards to overtime and also within the road department or?
So what we did back in September, October, November of 2024 is we did some new standby rules and regulations, but nothing actually pertaining to overtime itself. So currently all of the overtime still falls under the past rules that the board had previously put into the personnel policy.
Okay. Next question. In terms of overtime, so what I'm hearing is that overtime starts as soon as the individual steps onto the lot. Is that correct?
That is correct. As soon as they enter the lot is when we start the clock.
Okay. So as far as vehicles, so we have some vehicles that have been drawn back from employees because vehicles are, they're not in the same area where they tend to. But then again, on the same hand, we're also allowing some other employees to take vehicles with the same circumstance.
Incorrect, sir. So what we have is the insurance company, when we readopted the new 2025 resolution pertaining to vehicle usage, within that vehicle usage policy, there are specific guidelines for what individuals have to do in order to have a take-home vehicle. So for instance, in emergency situations where we're going to have individuals that are going to be on the clock responding after hours, we do have the ability for a limited period of time to check out a county vehicle to send home with that individual. However, if the individual is not going to be reporting 24/7, then that's when the vehicle stays on the county lot because it no longer falls within that new resolution pertaining to vehicle usage.
Okay, so I just want all of our employees to be treated equally in terms of, you know, whatever policies, procedures that you have drawn up, and then also in terms of vehicle usage as well.
So just for clarification on this one, I did not draw up the policy. The insurance company drafted the vehicle usage policy that the board then adopted. So the current vehicle usage policy that's in effect is a board adopted resolution.
So back to what I said in regards to our employees. I want everybody to be treated equally accordingly.
And that is correct. And that's why we have the sign-in form. So it's all traceable and it's all public record.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Commissioner reports.
I don't have anything to say.
I'll wait until later. I'll wait until later because I got different parts and pieces and whatnot, but I will wait until later. Thank you, sir.
I have nothing other, me and football and the kids, it's been a drastic season. Let's speak to them. New kids, young kids, new coach, volatile mix. I can just tell you the kids that are still out there, I give them all the credit in the world and get through it. That's all I can say. Acknowledge October birthdays.
Chairman, I can read that if you'd like.
Sure.
October birthdays, Ashley Rosas, Manager's Office, October 1st. Joseph Silva, Sheriff's Department, October 1st. Michael Brawl, Sheriff's Office, October 3rd. Pedro Guerrero, Assessor's Office, October 4th. Robert Aragon, Sheriff's Department, October 6th. Jennifer Peralta, Detention Center, October 16th. Mark Gonzalez, Detention Center, October 25th. Frankie Gonzalez Carrillo, Sheriff's Department, October 29th.
If I may, I would like to add Molly Gonzalez. That's my youngest granddaughter, October 7th. She's 12.
Happy birthday.
All right, public comment. During this portion of our meeting, We welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The county commission is not able to take action on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their names for the record. We have Donna Harris on the agenda.
Commissioners, thank you. My name is Donna Harris. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about the Quebradas Road by now, but too bad. 3 of you commissioners sat and gave previous county manager big raises and watched while he decimated the road department. BLM has no equipment to fix the road, and they think it's great for small cars, and their sign says slippery when wet. It is a great sign if you like flat tires, driving your car out of alignment and getting stuck and breaking tie rod. Andy, you said by 2028, you might be able to have purchased enough equipment to work on the road. What you all seem to be avoiding is that in 2028, you will not have a road to grade. The past 7 years, 5 years before I came to you, and the last 2 years I have been standing here, have attributed to horrible decline of that road. There are places now that require truckloads of material, the compactor and other heavy equipment. Grading is not going to do it. 200 feet past the 2-mile limit, there are erosion incursions that already reach into both sides of the tire tracks that go down the middle of the road. If you're going really slow in a pickup, you can snake around them. If you got a trailer, too bad. Your tires are going to be bashing in there and knocking off pieces into the ditch. They're just a few inches wide. Okay, this is only one specific example. One more good rain in that part of the road may be entirely impassable. There are many others. Nature reclaims that which is not attended. Commissioner Secretarial, for several months, you have been complaining big time about the roads at Alamo. I wonder if you tell your constituents that you had a big hand in making sure the county does not have a well-equipped road department. Enough with the Andy bashing already. Also, the idea that you don't have to fix the road to the Jake Chavez Ranch is kind of stupid. You claim there's no one there, so you don't have to take care of it. I'd like to remind you that you charge residential taxes on all of us who have homes out there. Just because they have a farm down here and a ranch both with livestock that need to be tended every day does not mean they don't live there. They live at both places. Depends where they are when it gets dark. According to BLM, 50,000 vehicles use that road every year. How does that fit into your very little usage chart? I thought the signs the county put up were perfect. The BLM didn't. I asked the BLM for 10 years for signs before I went to the county. That only took 2 years. When somebody gets killed by cars falling off the road or flipping, just know that I will be the star witness for the prosecution, no matter who gets it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have public comment?
Good evening, Commissioners. Scott White, I'm JJ Janetta's son-in-law. And we've been complaining about the Riley Road for over a year now, and nothing really has changed. Right now we went to a drought. We had to haul water about every day or every other day. On the roads, I could only travel 10,000 gallons, 10,000 pounds of water. I could only drive 3 to 4 miles an hour. Andy, are you the one I've been talking to? Andrew?
We can go, like we respond.
Yes.
Yes, we had that phone conversation together.
Okay. To me, I work in a environment that's a corporate environment. It seems to me when you do some truck or graders out there or whatever you need to do, you don't blame. You take care of the rough spots. To me, you're spending $1,000 to save $100. That doesn't make sense to me. Why can't the grader do the whole road at the same time? I've discussed this with Mr. Lynette several times, and you keep referring back to me that, well, we don't do this. Well, here about 2 weeks ago, my father had 2 inches of rain hit the headquarters. Washed out the road getting up there. He's 83 years old. What about if he had a heart attack or become very ill? How are we going to get into him without the county's help? To me, you're not doing a very good job. There has to be some common ground between us and the county on how to maintain that road. I understand Score County is a very big county. I understand that. But you're doing public service and you're not doing your job. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move on. 10, presentations, Veronica Pownds, Core General Hospital. Did you hear? What? Huh.
I know, I've been working. I'm here in her place. Veronica's tending to her mother. She's taken a turn for the worse. Sorry. My name is Adrian Morris. I work with Socorro General Hospital. Good evening, commissioners, chairman. And I want to share with you. I think we sent you this. There's been a few updates to it. So what I will speak to is what's in this one, but there's not a lot of differences.
Thank you.
That's the one.
It's almost the same one. We got a couple of updates to it.
Oh, on the screen.
Thank you.
So as you know, we're expected to present our scope of services and deliver our community report to you. And then once I've completed that, I'll submit a request for the rest of the mill levy distribution as well. So the packet that you have doesn't alter too much. This one has a highlight of a few of the changes that we have coming towards from the hospital. We've had a time change for the next couple of weeks for our urgent care. We're now open Mondays through Thursday from 12 to 5. Then starting in November, we'll be open Monday through Friday from 12 to 5. It's been going very good, the urgent care services. So we're expanding and opening up more opportunities for visits. And the rest of the information that we have in here, not a lot of changes to our emergency room care or through the clinic itself. And we have attached the phone numbers there to the specific departments if you have any questions about those departments. We do offer labor and delivery in the hospital. That is probably one of the things that we want to hold on to as the changes in healthcare come upon us. That's one thing that we want to argue to keep. So that's part of where this mill levy money gets distributed to, is helping us keep that open. We do have 24-hour anesthesia services, 24-hour surgical services. We work very hard at keeping this staffed 24/7, and we're doing good with it. We do scopes both up and down. If you need that, there's the number to call if you need a schedule an appointment. Our pharmacy is a 24-hour emergency room and inpatient pharmacy. We don't do the retail pharmacy. Just because we have it there doesn't mean we can hand it out. It pertains to the patients at the hospital. And then our respiratory department, which has started doing something that I'm happy coming up in January, and add those sleep studies to our services. That's something that's timed out almost 6 months up in Albuquerque. We'll be able to get you in within a week or so of those requisitions. And we'll have a couple of rooms set up for that. That's going pretty good. And that those Holter monitors, the event monitors, pulmonary function test, that's been going very well right at the front of the hospital where our gift shop used to be. That's all being run through there. And so they do support our hospital for 24 hours a day, especially for the emergency room. And we have rehab services that's serviced by Rehab Visions. They carry physical therapy and occupational therapy, and we just brought on a speech language pathologist. So we're using that service both inpatient, outpatient, and in our home health and not the hospice side of life so much, but in the home health as well. So that's a service that just started up less than a month ago, and it's going great. And the providers are making full use of our speech pathologist. Our lab is a full-size tri-core lab. We do outpatient services through our clinic, and we continue to support the hospital in the ER and all of the other inpatient, outpatient, and OR services. And we're one of the few facilities in Presbyterian that has their own audiologist. And I can't brag enough about having audiology here in Socorro, especially when we have to get those hearing aids tuned or even get your first round of a hearing aid. I can't brag enough about her. She has helped my father, and I'm very happy with that. And he can hear me now. And he fought it for years. He denied it and denied it, and finally she helped him through it. So audiology is an absolute win for us to have here in Socorro. Our radiology department, this is kind of exciting. The patient volumes being used, or the services being used through our radiology department has been increasing regardless of the addition of some of the services. And you can see at the bottom there, there's that red mark of our mammo services. We are excited to bring the mammo services to Socorro. We've had contracted services that are not contracted through the hospital, but they have been in and around Socorro. Now we have it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 11:30. And this is by referral only right now. So go to your doctors, get your doctors to do the referral. All the providers within the community are aware of our services, and we can get you signed up and very quick turnaround as well. And the reads are happening rather quickly as well with those mammo. We've had some challenges in the past getting good turnaround on the mammo. Not so much with our in-house services now. We do carry the ultrasound services. That's our general diagnostic, vascular, and echocardiograms, Monday through Sunday, Monday through Friday, and the rest of those. Bone density, another good one to have in our community, Monday through Friday. And MRI, we do share that with another facility in New Mexico, and we have that for 3 days of the week. And then, of course, the CT, and that's our CT machine is getting a little bit up in age, so we'll be looking at that replacement in the near future. And then our general radiology. We do have 2 radiology rooms with some portables. Those rad rooms, we just did a remodel on one of those rooms, and it is top of the line and nice and pretty, and they're putting it to use as we speak. The next page, on page 6, these are our current providers that we have. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, Dr. Boone, he's going to be moving on to another facility later on in the year. And Dr. Whitney, he is also, he's going to go on military leave. He'll be back, but we'll lose him for a couple of months. So we are recruiting, and we're going to fill some of those gaps with some of the rest of our PHS providers. We're trying to avoid the locums or the rental docs. Those come at a fairly high price tag, so we're making use of our Presbyterian counterparts. And on the next page, we have our family medicine docs. These have been pretty well established, and we haven't had a whole lot of turnover there. Hopefully those names all look familiar to you. And we're doing good with our family medicine and our women's health at the clinic, and then pediatrics as well. We have our general surgery. So Dr. Swedinsky's been in our community for a while now, working for the hospital. She is now an employed contract employee rather than a contracted through an agency employee. So she kind of belongs to us, and we're happy about that, and she's happy about it, and we want to keep her. She's doing a great job for us, and we get lots of great reviews about her services. So it's a win for us, and we're happy with that. Dr. Opie and Dr. Bryan are also filling in for the other half of those surgical consults and needs. Then our women's health. So some of those names cross over, and here is the long list of obstetrics and gynecology providers that we have here at Presbyterian in Socorro. And podiatry, so have Dr. Bowles cranking away on feet. And behavioral health, we don't have a whole lot there with Tana Hudson. She does support us, and we tax her very well. We use her a lot, not financially tax her. Visiting services. So the Presbyterian Heart Group has been coming to Socorro for a number of years, and we're working out options, but they have ended our contract with them as of December 31st. So we don't have them. They are part of our support system for some of those sleep studies, and we're working out the details of that. We do have perinatal associates, super valuable to that women's health group, and they're coming 3 times a week for those high-risk OB patients. And some of our distinct programs that we have that we offer for the community is our home health program. And hopefully, if you've had to use them, they do a great job with that. With one that touches is a special place for me is that hospice program. That's something that is absolutely priceless. We do have a hospice memorial coming up here in November 17th, I think is the date on that. And those are some special nurses, and they've helped plenty of people in this community in their last days. So it's a service that we have increased in volume significantly over the last year or two, and that's definitely a special team there. And we've had a very low turnover in staff, especially in that home health and hospice programs. Then we have the Heritage program. That's Beers' program. That's going through our community-based services. The Firstborn program, the Circle of Security, and the Parent-Infant Psychotherapy programs. The SHIO program, that's also an outreach program that's privately funded, and that brings some of the financial literacy to the community. They have some great success stories. Here's some number by volumes on page 10. This is this should be reflective of what we might see throughout our next year. They stay close. We saw about 30,000 through the clinic. We deliver almost 100 babies a year through the hospital, and our inpatient hospital days, number of heads that stayed in a bed per day. We might have 3 patients in there. But then the next day we have 5 patients. Well, now we've added 2 more to that. That was 8 days, or 8 patient days, if you consider those 2 days, right? Number of patients. So 1,690 patient days in the hospital, and then ER visits. We sit around 10,000. That's a pretty solid number for us. Some of the updates that are coming our way. We have been admitting more progressive care patients. That's a little bit of a challenge on some of the nursing to tend to our patients that are not as, in the past, have been as sick. Patients are getting more sick, and sometimes it's harder to find a bed for those sicker patients. So we're taking them, and we're managing them in-house with the staff that we have and the providers that we have. And we have several staff that have been, our RN staff that have been born and raised here in Socorro. We've given a handful of scholarships ourselves, and we really appreciate the staff coming back to us and working for us. We've hired several of these, and we have more coming. And hopefully we'll have a new batch in the very near future of nursing staff. So we really appreciate growing our own and with scholarships to support those. Hired a family practice. We have Dr. Hussein coming in pretty soon, and he is hired. She is hired. And the interview with, so this is another local provider, family practice provider, Matt Lucero. Should be mid next year on their way. And we have a nurse practitioner that's working out of our ER, and our hospitalist, Dr. Khan, who worked for us a while back, loved working for us, left for a little while, and loved us so much she's come back. So we're happy to have a familiar face, and she's an excellent doctor for us. That last page is some of the finances. You can see we've captured 2023, 24, and 25. Just the first 6 months of the year. And looking at this year, you can look at the 2025, that total Medicaid and Medicare loss and gain. We're still operating at a loss of $2.9 million. And with the request of the funds, that'll knock that down to 2.4. But that's where we sit, unfortunately, this time of year. Let's see if we have anything else here. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, come in. Well, thank you for your presentation, and thank you and your staff for what they do for the community. I think we're very fortunate to have our hospital. When you mentioned OB, I'm so excited to hear that you're trying to keep it, because there's so many rural, smaller hospitals are losing that service, and that is a great service for the community.
Thank you. Absolutely. You never want to deliver a baby on the side of the road or in the back of an ambulance, or in the ambulance bay, or even for the most part in the emergency room. You want to deliver in an appropriate setting, and that is our OB department.
How does urgent care work? I guess that's the urgent care.
Yes.
So if they go to the ER, you can defer them to the urgent care instead of the ER, or?
It's a careful road that we take. So let's stay careful because we don't turn anybody away from the emergency room. That's the EMTALA laws. But there are signs all throughout there that say urgent care, here's the hours, here's where it's at, for you to consider whether that's the more appropriate level of care for you at that time. Now, if you do go to the urgent care while they're open and they say, this is too much or too complex, let's get you to the ER. And we do that fairly often. And that works out pretty well. But to defer somebody from the ER to the urgent care, we don't do that because we're changing, we're declining their care at the ER.
And the location is?
The location for the
Urgent care?
Yeah, so it's physically in our MOB, the PMG clinic, and it's on that south east corner is the physical location of it, yeah. You do go through the front door and check in just like a regular office visit though.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then at this time, I'd like to, with no other questions, I'd like to request the disbursement, and I think I'm supposed to read the letter. Does that sound right? The request.
That'll be under our action items,
Oh,
which
is
will be
it?
after two more presentations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to come back up for that?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Shauna Hartley, opioid remediation collaborative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Shauna Hartley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Opiate Remediation Collaborative. And I'm here tonight to provide you with an update on our project. So slide 2. I just provided some information so that you could get a good picture as to where New Mexico is with their overdose deaths. The numbers are going down. In 2021, there were over 1,000 people that had died of an overdose. In 2022, it went down to 997. And in 2023, it was 948. Fentanyl was involved in 65% of the overdose deaths, methamphetamines, 51%. And so what that data tells us is that people are not dying of overdoses based on a prescription medication. They're dying from synthetic overdose or synthetic opiates that they're getting off the streets. The age group most affected is between 25 and 64, and with the highest concentration in the age group of 35 to 44 age range. And that's pretty consistent actually with our 6 other counties that the ORC represents. The majority of the overdoses were unintentional. And so what that means is that people oftentimes probably don't know that there's fentanyl and there's methamphetamines in their opiate. And they're using that. Next slide, number 3. That slide basically identifies what we accomplished in 2024-25 fiscal year. We just started our new fiscal year in July. And I would say that 2024 and 25 was really about building a foundation of different resources that were very similar in all 7 counties. And I'll talk a little bit about that. This new fiscal year is going to be about promoting those. We are expanding our reach to our youth, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. We did start doing some prevention for high school students through Safety First, and we want to explore some prevention resources for elementary and middle school youth. We have moved to a new format with our county managers where each county can actually make a specific request for dollars, and I worked with each county manager to identify what they thought was the most important thing for their community. I have established some different relationships with Synchronous, which is our health portal here in New Mexico, where we're gonna start getting some data specifically for our counties. So what's challenging about this project sometimes is that data is about 2 years behind. And by grabbing that information from Synchronous, which is our health portal, we're gonna be able to see in real time how many people have been diagnosed with opiate use disorder, how many people have dual diagnosis, how many people have cross-addiction issues. And we can actually drill that down to Socorro County. So that same health portal also allows us to look at the cost of how many people have addiction issues, but if we do nothing, what that is gonna cost your community. So the next time I come to do my update, what I'll be doing is I'll be sending all of the commissioners a report before I come out so we can actually take a look at that data, which is gonna be really helpful for the strategies that we pick. We're also working on trying to decrease stigma and create recovery spaces, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. Next slide. It says 4, sorry, it is 4. So I have worked with Andy on what he feels is the appropriate county strategy for Socorro. And one of the strategies that he picked is actually standing up evidence-based treatment and prevention at the detention center. I've had the pleasure of working with Eddie, Dr. Page, who's an addiction medicine physician that's on my project. We're actually starting to do quarterly trainings with their detention staff. We're getting ready to really kind of move into a best practice modality with medications at the detention center here in Socorro, which is really exciting, and we hope to support that. The other strategy that we're working on is improving the triage of individuals with behavioral health and substance use issues. And I'll talk a little bit about that later in the presentation. As Andy talked about, the ORC is supporting the sporting events for Socorro County. And that serves two purposes. One, it's a barrier-free way for people to attend a sober event, which I think is really important. The other part of that is we have a youth council that is actually going to start providing some prevention materials at that game. So it kind of serves two purposes for our project. And I think it's just a really special gift, I think, to each community. Some of the individual supports that we have taken care of over the last quarter is that you guys have a drop-in center, and that is Puerto Seguro Drop-In Center. And I've had the pleasure of working with the executive director, Shay, for probably the last 7 months. One of the things that we did a couple of months ago is I actually brought the leadership from Cibola County to Shay's program because we're interested in actually reduplicating that same service in all 6 of our other counties. She has, I've worked in this business for a really long time, and I've actually run drop-in centers. And when you think about drop-in centers, in particular the her program, she's a top 10. She has everything. She is open the majority of the week. She has meals for people. She has showers. They give out food for individuals. And so our plan is to really kind of shore up some of those navigation resources through our organization. So I've done a couple of things. In May, I did a full round of presentations with all the managed care companies in New Mexico. And United Healthcare was actually very interested in supporting our drop-in center startup. And so Shay and I just finished a grant. It just got completed a couple of weeks ago. And we have a tentative dollar amount between $45,000 and $52,000. So United Healthcare is going to support Shay's operations, and a portion of that money is going to be used for Cibola County, and Shay's going to help me get that stood up in Cibola County. So where we're at with this project is we're starting to share resources, share really beneficial programs that work in one county that could be translated to another. We also supported a navigator support for Shay's program, a salary support, which was $19,500. And as Andy talked about, I helped him with his application for the SB3 process, which is going to be pretty extensive. We have 2 individuals on my project, myself included, that can actually provide quite a bit of technical assistance to our county managers for this process. It's an in-kind identification for the application, and we can assist with standing up community listening groups, stakeholder groups, crunching all of that data, putting it into a report, and helping Socorro, Sierra, Catherine, and Torrance get as many dollars to support your community as possible. I just finished a couple of weeks ago a rural transformation grant. I've asked for $28 million to support all of our 7 counties, in addition to the districts and the regions attached to them. So I hope to be able to get some of those dollars for some of the future endeavors that we have. So I'm on slide 7, and some of the things that we're promoting through our project is we have built out, the last time I was here, I was really kind of talking about the process of doing this, but our app for individuals that have substance use issues has been completed. And what that means is completed is that your local resources have been uploaded. All the screeners have been inputted, and the app has libraries, it has resources, and it is really built for the person who wants some support with their using drugs or alcohol. It's 24/7, they have peer support, individuals that people can access, and they actually have NA and AA groups that people can attend online. I just finished the companion app, which is the other side of that. That's for people who have a loved one that is using drugs or alcohol and they want some support with that. Same thing on that side. We have resources, we have libraries, we have support groups for people. And the next part of that app I'm going to be working on is the youth piece. And our youth advisory council that we just started is actually going to be consultants for that project. The next slide is our 988 navigation system. I've been talking about this for some time now. I did want to give you guys some numbers. So really what Socorro County has, which is different than other counties in New Mexico, is that when somebody calls 988 and they need resources, EMS perhaps doesn't need to be called out for triage to another place, the person at 988 will say, can I give you a call back and make sure you got to your designation, to your resources, so on and so forth. So it serves as a mobile navigation system. We started that almost over a year ago, and I just wanted to give you guys some data from your county. So I have July, August, and September. So with the 988 navigation system, we also receive a report, and this report helps me guide the resources that we have for our project. So in July, there were 29 calls to 988, which is total interactions. That means that 29 people called, chatted, text, reached out to 988 for services. In August, it was 26, and in September, it kicked up to 42, which is pretty significant. The call volume has increased since 2024. Those same 3 months, you had 21 calls altogether. And this year, you had 97 calls. So that really speaks to the need for support services for people who are calling. So people call 988, right? And they can talk to a clinical person and they can get services. But if they can't get follow-up through an outpatient clinic, then that's where people continue to kind of live in that crisis place. In July, clinical interactions, meaning that a clinical person had to be engaged with that person on the phone. A licensed individual, because that person either verbalized homicidal or suicidal thoughts in July, out of those 29 calls, 28 got kicked up to a clinical person. That's high. In August, 25 of those 26 calls got kicked up to a clinical person. And in September, 37 out of 42 calls got kicked up to a clinical person. So what that tells us is that when people are calling 988 in Socorro County, that they are in a crisis. They're in a crisis to the point where they are reporting at-risk behaviors that put them at risk of having to go to a hospital. EMS in July was called at once, August was once, September was 3 times. Of those calls, and this is what's significant, people will ask, do you have a substance use issue? And that person has the choice to say yes or no, right? Of those July calls, 7 people said, I have a substance use issue. August, 9 people said that. And in September, it was 14. So I would really like to connect with the hospital folks because I think that we have a really good opportunity to see what we can do through our organization to support people who have medical withdrawal issues in addition to outpatient services. This data really speaks to quite a bit of people who are calling in crisis really need to have help. And I think the more we can work together would be great. So the next slide is our Youth Advisory Council updates. We do have a Youth Advisory Council. We have 6 youth on our council. We don't have somebody from Socorro, but we're trying. We do have a mission statement. We do have our goals and our objectives for this year. And our youth are hoping to stand up at least one event for all 7 counties in 2026. That's our goal. So our Youth Advisory Council is going to be useful in a lot of different ways. Number one, if we stand up an app for youth, we want to get their input on that. I think sometimes the worst thing that adults do is that we create things for youth, but we don't get their input, and we create something that's not usable. So we're going to use them to help me create the third part of the app, in addition to supporting the prevention strategies in all 7 of our counties. And also, hopefully we will have one event where we can engage actually in all 7 counties. The next slide is a safety first slide, and we just finished our first round of safety first. Safety first is a vetted prevention curriculum for high school youth. And since the last time I came, the other thing I've done is I really explored other options such as DARE. I get that request quite a bit from our counties. And I was able to do some research, met with the coordinator for that, connected with Under Sheriff Robles from Chavez County. And I have sent to all of our county managers a resource because in December in Rio Doso, Chavez County is going to actually host a DARE training, which is about $30,000, and they're going to actually allow our 7 counties to waive that admission fee. So I've sent that out to all the county managers, and the big difference between DARE and Safety First would be that DARE is really facilitated by more of a law enforcement approach. So it's the school resource officers who are doing it. Safety First could be a teacher, could be a social worker. It actually could be someone that is just interested as long as they keep the integrity of the prevention curriculum. So that's it. Do you guys have any questions?
But I only have one question on those, the 988. Do you think the call volume was up because more people know about it and are actually reaching out, or?
I actually met with them this week, and I'm going to do a survey. So they're going to actually start doing a little bit of a survey so I can answer that question. I do think that it's good that the call volume is up because people are reaching out.
Right.
So you can kind of look at those numbers and you can the outcome of that could be good also.
Right,
It's
the
not
numbers go up,
always
eventually they'll go
bad,
down.
right? I do think that 988 has done more promotion, so that could be true. But I also believe that people's behavioral health and substance use issues are worsening.
Yeah.
And that's pretty consistent in New Mexico, and that's pretty consistent across the nation. So it's kind of hard to tell at this point.
Thank you.
How is that 988 being publicized?
Actually, I am working with the person who helps me with our marketing document. And I'm creating documents specifically for law enforcement to hand out to people. So one of the things that's challenging about 988 is that we really need to kind of flood the county with that. So 988 posters should be up in schools, they should be up in grocery stores, they should be up in a lot of different places. And my strategy for this moving forward to really promote this is to really get 988 in Socorro where people are really familiar with the service, and then start to attach that secondary piece to it. So we're going to be really working on promoting all of these things that I've talked about this rest of the year.
Are you reaching out to the healthcare facilities to promote this with you guys?
Yes, actually, we are providing a monthly meeting for all of the behavioral health organizations in all 7 of our counties to learn how to get people onto the app, that one piece. And at that point, we're taking advantage of talking about the 988 stuff. So it would be really nice. I'm going to look over to the hospital again because, that would be a perfect conduit to this work, is really being able to touch folks that are in crisis and also are receiving outpatient services. So yes, and we're also attending the health council meetings. So that's what's different since the last time I was here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
10C, Delilah Walsh and Michael Jackson, New Mexico Tech Stakeholders Outreach for Proposed Wellness Center.
Does everybody have the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. How about the survey?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What?
Okay, good, sure. Technically we have, but I got you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and members of the Socorro community, thank you for letting New Mexico Tech talk with you this evening. So I'm Mike Jackson, I'm interim president at New Mexico Tech, and with me I have 2 other tech employees. The first is Delilah Walsh. She's the vice president of administration and finance and our chief financial officer. And the next person we have is Vanessa Green. Oh yes, chief executive assistant to the president's office. And they're both local, homegrown.
Yes.
Okay, so they go ahead and grow up right here in Socorro. So
And Socorro County.
and Socorro County, yeah. So which is it's the county seat, right? I mean, yeah. So thank you again for having us here tonight. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about this Student and Community Wellness Center. So earlier this summer, we had this capital outlay meeting for that was run by HED, where we went ahead and presented 3 of our capital requests. Okay, and I'll start out with the third one and then work our way up. So the third one is for a new core facility for the New Mexico Bureau of Geology and Mineral Resources. The second is a remodel of MSEC, the Mineral Science and Engineering Complex. The first one is about, the number 3 there, the core facility, is about a $9 million project. The second facility, MSEC, that remodel, is north of $60 million in terms of a remodel, okay? However, the top priority for New Mexico Tech is the Student and Community Wellness Center, okay? And that's the one that we're here to talk a little bit about tonight. And so the next slide there, slide number 2, talks a little bit about the users of this facility. Of course, as you might suspect, it's a New Mexico Tech community, okay? So we have students, faculty, and staff who are going ahead and engaging in this through a variety of different kind of activities. And of course, we have clubs that go out and compete. The rugby team and our esports team are 2 potential users of this facility, and both have won national championships, okay? So there's the tech community, of course, that would be users for this. An important critical user of this as well is the Socorro community, okay? And so there's a variety of different uses there. Of course, there'd be people who actually use the gym right now, people who are going ahead and swimming, physical recreation classes. And that swimming group consists of members of the community, maybe doing aerobics, water aerobics that are in there, but it will also be the high school team. It will also the Stingray team. And so one of the things that we'd like to see in this new kind of remodeled facility would be a competition length high school swimming pool. So that way they could actually use it for their competition. So again, that was also a critical resource. But we also see it as for state events. So we have, for example, New Mexico Tech hosts the New Mexico Science Olympiad and the Science and Engineering Fair. Both of those statewide competitions are done right here in Socorro. And again, this is a facility that those competitions use. We also have outside groups, of course, summer camps. New Mexico Tech hosts a first responders program. So we have first responders coming from all over the United States coming here to go ahead and do training. And what do they use? They like to use the gym. So this is a perfect opportunity for that. And then again, we can see future competitions here as something that's there, as well as just other one-off kind of events. And so if we look back, the third slide there goes back and looks at the kind of an older picture of the gym. So the gym itself was established during the FDR administration. Okay, it was remodeled during the Ford administration, and the swim center was built during the Eisenhower administration. So it's about time to go ahead and do some type of upgrade to the facility. Okay, it's been 50 years since the last really major upgrade has been done. And so it's something that we're really looking forward to. The fourth slide kind of lists some of the amenities that would be in this facility. As you might suspect, there's kind of cardio and weightlifting facilities that would be there. As I mentioned, ideally, if this is one big facility, it would be great to have a competition length high school swimming facility that would be there. Of course, locker rooms, a variety of different kind of workout areas. Some may be common rooms, some would be exercise, community kind of rooms where larger kind of events could be held. We would like to go ahead and have a checkout facility for like outdoor recreation. In addition to that, we would love to go ahead and have an indoor walking and running track, which would be great for inclement weather. And of course, an e-gaming area for our esports teams. And so those are some of the things that we'd like to see in that facility. And we're very fortunate in the sense that the state has given us money to go ahead and start doing the design work for it. The design development, allowing us to explore a little bit about what could actually be in this facility, where the potential sites could be, what could this type thing look like, and at least what are the options that we can go ahead and consider. And so we have McLean and you, Architecture and Design, helping us go ahead and do that. We just actually came from a meeting with them, and they're on campus right now, actually talking to students about the opportunities that are there. And of course, one of the challenges with this facility is, unlike the other two I mentioned earlier today, the court facility and MSEC, they are eligible for GO bond funding. And they've actually been recommended for GO bond funding by the HED. But this project, because it's an auxiliary service, is not eligible for it. So we're going to have to go ahead and look for other kind of sources of revenue in order to go ahead and support this, whether it be from the executive branch of New Mexico, whether it be from grants, and other kind of applications that we go ahead and do, as well as local. So these are all things that would be there. And the city has mentioned to us that they've gone ahead and put this into their ICIP submission for 2026. And we're going to be asking in the future for the county to go ahead and put that in their ICIP in 2027. And what are we doing right now? So if we go to that next slide, there's still a lot of questions that need to be kind of determined. And the first, of course, is where this thing will be. So the site location is one thing that's there. Whether this would be a single facility or whether it be a multiple facility setup. The other thing is whether or not there'd be enough money to go ahead and do it all in one, or whether you'd have to phase the project. And then, of course, the question would be is what is the total footprint and what are the total costs that we'd be able to go ahead and then seek funding for and try to get that support. So tonight, really, there's just two requests in terms of what we'd like. The first is we'd love your feedback. Okay, and that's why we have those surveys there. And if people in the audience would like to go ahead and get those surveys, we'll give them to you so that way you can go ahead and give us your feedback. Okay, so that's the first thing that we'd love to go ahead and get. We already have about 300 or so people who provided feedback on this, 100 of whom have gone ahead and identified themselves as members of the community. So already we have about 100 or so folks that have gone ahead and provided us feedback from Socorro County. And so again, we'd love to go ahead and grow that further. So if folks have feedback, that would be fantastic. I've been at the Oktoberfest, the Chili Festival. Last week I was at the Socorro School Board. This past weekend I was at Socorro Fest. Tonight I'm here. Next week I'm at the City Council. And so again, we're trying to get the word out, and at least this is something that we're working on. And again, it would be great to get folks' feedback. So that's the first thing. The second thing is just to have the conversation. And so eventually, when we get to the point where things are a little bit more finalized, we'd like to come back out to the various constituents and say, here's kind of more the finalized kind of plan for what we have. And then now here's kind of the support, or here's the pathway that we're thinking about how to move forward. And so that's the thing right now. So really, the second request is just to have a conversation. We may eventually need to go ahead and have some type of either MOU or some type of letter of support that we'll come back and ask for at that time. And with that, we'll have a little bit more kind of defined information about what we actually have and where we think it can go. And so that's kind of where we're at. And again, really at this point, Delilah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Jackson. First of all, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, it's really bittersweet to be back here. I very much miss the county, and but I won't say that for my boss. Sorry. So thank you very much for your support. And I had a conversation with Andy. We talked about the 2027 ICIP and making this a part of your. It doesn't have to be a priority, but we do need to be able to demonstrate to the state that we have full community support. And you all are aware, New Mexico Tech is the major economic driver here in Socorro County. We're the largest employer for the county. We're the largest utility payer, the largest income generator. So with our research dollars, we bring in $100 million of non-New Mexico money to Socorro through our research efforts. So we bring in quite a bit, even though you mostly see us talking about our dirty stuff in our labs and things like that. This is the one effort that we've been very intentional about making about the Socorro community. And that's why when we go through our charrettes and our planning, and if you'd like to stop by Workman tonight during our on-campus town hall, just to see what's going on and what sort of priorities we have, that would be great. But we did that with intention because we want this to be a center for wellness, for health, for whether it be the physical workout, or as Dr. Jackson mentioned, even checking out a kayak, or a mountain bike, or an e-bike, or something that you can do to explore that just beyond the city of Socorro and how we can support that. So we very much want to make sure that we're all on board. We've talked to HED, we've talked to the LFC, we've been talking to our legislators, and there is a good push for this project at the state level. However, the emphasis has been, what is the community want? Not just New Mexico Tech, but what does the community want? So that's why Dr. Jackson said we'll be back with some support MOUs and asking you for not necessarily any money at this point, but some skin in the game of how we can work together and partner together. So thank you all very, very much. And I'm excited to work with you. And I really encourage you to share those surveys throughout your communities individually.
And with that, we stay up for questions.
Hi, President Jackson, excuse me. For those of you that don't know, Mexico County's had a booth during the State Fair days, county days at State Fair, and President Jackson actually worked the Socorro booth for Socorro County, and we had a good time. So thank you for doing that.
We love to do it, and I'm happy to do it again next year.
We love your motivation, so thank you.
Questions for me?
Thanks for including the community. I think that's awesome.
I will mention that we will be having our Socorro Day at the legislature, so we'll be reaching out to work with you all. January 8th.
And that's a great point. So right now, New Mexico Tech has been able to go ahead and reserve part of the rotunda for January 29th. And it turns out that the very next day would be like New Mexico Earth Science Day, and that would be on Friday, January 30th. What we're thinking about is actually having we have, in addition to the rotunda, we actually have the hallway and the actual rotunda for some of the days. So we wanted to invite the county and the city to go ahead and maybe partner with us to go ahead and have some type of events, including maybe if you'd like to have a table, share it with the city. Yeah, share it with the city, okay? But we won't share it with the city, but we can have something there along with the tables of New Mexico Tech. So we'd like to have something like that. Then, in addition to that, we'll be inviting our local legislators to come, and maybe we'll have some type of special event in the rotunda during that period of time. And then perhaps that night, last year, we went ahead and did a tri-county event. And so it would be great to go ahead and have something like that again, perhaps on the evening of the January 29th. So I'd love to go ahead and get maybe the contacts for who was kind of coordinating that last year. We can go ahead and try to do that with the other counties that were participating last year. And maybe we can do something that night. So again, if that's something that folks are interested in, we would love to have you there to go ahead and be part of the day.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Anybody want?
Okay, number 11, action items. A, approval of distribution of third and fourth quarter mill levy funds to Socorro General Hospital.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion from Commissioner Monet, a second from Commissioner Montana for the approval of third and fourth quarter mill levies to the Socorro General Hospital. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So mill levy passes. 11B, approval of expenditure of funds and distribution of lodging tax support funds for the 2025 Chili Festival.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the board, put this one on here. We haven't gotten a request yet from the Chili Fest. However, wanted to put this one on here in case we do get it. I would seek approval of being able to give up to $1,500.
A motion to approve.
I'll second. I have a motion for approval for expenditure of Lodgers Fund in the amount of $1,500 for the Chili Festival from Commissioner Montoya, and a second from Commissioner Aguilar. Question, go ahead.
In terms of the, what did we do last year in regards to that event?
It was right in the neighborhood of $1,000 to $1,500.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion 11B passes. 11C, approval of purchase of 938 wheel loader from Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is from the road department. This is part of that continuing effort to get the equipment up and running that I worked with Louis Martinez, director of the road department, to put together his wish list as to what equipment is needed to get projects up and running as quickly as possible. So this is one that the dollar amount is above the threshold that we can do. So we're just bringing it forward to the board for formal approval that it's already been ordered and is ready to roll.
This is part of our efforts to improve the road department, correct?
Correct.
Did we, sir, do we have any other takers in regards to that, or do we just have that one vendor right now?
Is it under state contract or?
It is under a state contract.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by myself and a second from Commissioner Montoya for the purchase of a 938 wheel loader from Wagner. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Do we have to sign something so that Veronica can leave? That way you can leave, sign it.
Only submit a request.
No, I just, listen.
All right.
You already.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. We took formal action, so there's no signatures needed on this document. So we will be able to go ahead and get this off to the treasurer's office so that they can go ahead and issue the disbursements.
You can save your life, but we'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
11D, Well, did we get to that? Yeah, we did, yeah. 11D, approval of purchase of two 2140M motor grader from Wagner.
Thank you. This is also part of that continuing effort to upgrade the equipment and get additional equipment. So these are two graders that are going to be put to use upon your approval. These will be put to use later this week.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question if I may.
Sure.
Are we hiring 2 more operators? So we'll have 5 graders in operation, or are we retiring 2 graders?
No, we are going to have a total of 5 graders now, and we already have the operators hired and ready to sit on these pieces of equipment.
Awesome, thank you. I'll make the motion to approve.
One second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Monet and a second from Commissioner Aguilar for the approval of purchase of two 2140M motor grader from Wagner. It's hard to say. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's by those graders. 11E, approval of purchase of rotary cutter from RKJ.
Thank you. So this is once again from the road department. What this one is it's actually an enclosed cutter. So this way, not only are we going to be able to get to the sides of the roads, but this piece of equipment will also help us out with some of those trees that need trimming as well. So this is also with, we're seeking approval. And this one, we won't be able to get as quickly as the other pieces, but it's also on a state contract and we should be able to get delivery by the end of the month.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Aguilar and a second from Commissioner Montoya for the purchase of rotary cutter from RKJ. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think those are all steps in the right direction, much needed. 11F, approval of purchase of type 6 brush truck for Northern County Fire District.
Yes, thank you. They're in your packet, Mr. Chair, members of the board. You should have there's a pretty red truck. What this one is most of the time these are running in the neighborhood of $300+. With this one, it's going to be there in Utah, and we're actually going to be able to get it for under $200,000. So we wanted to be able to act quickly on this one, but we are coming to you all for approval because in order to do this one, we had to use this year's funds, but also tap into the funds that we set aside last year. And so basically the purchase of this is going to be half from this year's Northern District funds and half from last year's funds that we reverted. But we'd like to be able to jump on this one right away because it's going to replace some obsolete equipment that's there.
Question.
Go ahead.
Is this also a state contract as well, or?
This one is not. This one is well under the state contract. The state contract was, like I said, in the neighborhood of about $300,000. This one came in $100,000 less.
It's a new 2024, correct? It is new?
That is correct. It is new.
And the funds you referred to that we're tapping into and rolling over from last year are state fire funds.
That is correct. All fire funds.
So earlier you said that normally these will run at $300,000. Do we have documentation to that? Our backup in regards to that?
Yes, we do. It's all in there in the procurement system.
Motion to approve.
Second. Then a motion for Commissioner Monette and a second for Commissioner Montoya for the approval of the type 6 brush truck for the Northern County project. And that's Villita area, right? Northern is.
Correct. So this would be Sabignal and Villita area.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Purchase is approved. 11. G, consideration of resolution 2025-56, Open Meeting Act revised.
That was a placeholder in regards to the several meetings that I was. I will go ahead and strike that from the agenda, and we'll go ahead and move on.
Okay. Ready to vote on that? No, it's just struck. Okay. 11H, consideration of resolution 2025-60, fiscal year 26 first quarter financial report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm happy to report that the first quarter has gone exactly so far according to what we are supposed to be bringing in. So the first quarter analysis is we have so far received just a little over 1/4 of the revenue that we were supposed to have received. So we're in good standing as well as with our bill pay and these purchases. So the good thing is with these purchases of these large amounts that we just did for the department, that was all from the one-time funding that we're able to bring into the budget this year. And so we currently have enough to go ahead and pay all those bills at this time. And so there won't be any need for any type of budget amendment request to transfer funds to be able to do these large purchases.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion from Commissioner Monet and a second from Commissioner Montoya for the approval of the fiscal year 26 first quarter report. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Consideration of Socorro County Detention Center rate increase and delegation of authority to approve contracts implementing the rate.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So it's one of those that currently all around us with our neighboring detention centers, everybody is north of $100 per day. We're currently still down there at the $34 rate for some of our detainees that we have. So what we would be asking here is for the ability to go ahead and start negotiating a new price with some of our neighbors. So specifically, we would be negotiating with Sierra County, Catron County, and Valencia County would be the main ones that we currently are housing their detainees. And so I would like to seek approval for the negotiations that Adrian and I will have with these neighboring counties would be to see if we could get up to, but no more than 115 per day.
This is to house other prisoners from other counties?
Yes.
Now, is that, oh, go ahead. Is that gonna fluctuate in terms of different counties, or are we just gonna have one flat rate?
The goal is to try to just do one flat rate because it would be a whole lot easier to do the books with just one flat rate.
Okay, I'd like to make the motion to then proceed with being cordial with other counties in regards to negotiation.
And Mr. Chairman, with that motion, would you like the contracts, if the terms and conditions aren't changing, just the rate, would you like the manager to be able to sign off, or would you like to bring those back to the county?
Let the manager sign off.
Just the rate.
Well, of course, yeah, it would be nice for us to know in terms of what the status is, and then most definitely, yeah.
And so we'll report back to you before he signs.
Yes.
I'll second that. So, motion from Commissioner Secretary, second from myself for delegating authority for the approval of rate increase from detention center. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye passes. J, approval of speed hump removal on Chambon on Avenida Delimitar. Speed humps, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So Danny and I were able to, Commissioner Monette and I were able to go and survey these roads and kind of look at them. We currently have 2 requests from the citizens on both of those roads to remove the speed humps.
I don't want to correct you, but I'd like to state it's not 2 requests, it's the petitions from both of them. I mean, filled out by several people.
Correct. The petitions have been filled out in full with no dissenting opinions by the citizens. So everybody that's impacted that has property on those roads is in support of these removals. The issue that we're coming forward to you tonight to figure out is, so when these speed humps were installed, they were installed based upon the studies of an engineer and with an engineer approval. If we take them out, currently we do not have an engineering study pertaining to the removal. And with that, I'll turn it over to our county attorney to go ahead and speak.
Certainly. I guess the only issue is, of course, obviously, it does increase our exposure if we don't have an engineer look at the removal process. It's not required. And we do have expertise in our road department that can, certainly that can address some of the issues, but there is additional exposure.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Ever since I started running for commission for this seat, that's been one of the biggest obstacles in that area. I'd like to say, well, I should thank the sheriff and his crew also, and the fire department and so forth for everybody during the floodings, but those speed bumps did not help with the flooding this weekend. They're holding a lot of water back. So that creates a safety issue as well. We had a lot of damage in the area, and also the schools informed me that those speed humps made them redo some bus routes because it takes too long for them to get to school now. There's 17 speed bumps from the little store up to Midway School. And it's just, I don't know if any of you have driven on that road, but you do not want, nobody even uses that road hardly anymore. I mean, it's not user friendly. So I'd make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Are we looking at extracting all of them?
No, sir.
Or just?
The manager and I drove down that road, and I would say roughly almost 2/3 of them would be removed, or half of them.
That is correct,
About
sir.
half of them.
That it would be half to 2/3.
At the entrances, there would be some. There's some they put in the middle of people's driveways. They left the old speed pumps in when they put in the new ones, so you go over one and you hit another one right away. I mean, it's taking some of those out, and the old ones especially.
So these are the ones only on Chambon Road?
Correct. The ones on Schmidl will be coming up at a later meeting.
Correct. We had our first meeting with the Schmidl community. And so we have a tentative plan, and we're scheduling another meeting in November so that we can talk about Schmidl a little bit more and get some further buy-in from the Schmidl community itself. So today we're only dealing with Chambon and Avenida de Lematar would be the two roads that we'd request that we remove them based upon when Commissioner Monette and I went through and speaking with the community as to which ones we can take out.
So the removal of asphalt, speed bumps on an asphalt paved road, and there will be asphalt where there used to be a speed bump, correct?
That's correct.
And just for the record, I remember when we discussed this and it came up, and when I was told the amount, my response was, what?
Yeah.
I thought I was a lot, but I'm not an engineer. But going forward, so I'll make the motion. Oh, you already made it.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
Mr. Montoya already seconded it, but on item I and item M, item J and item M,
What's the difference?
Sergio V. Hill versus Avenida de Lematar.
Oh, yeah.
That's behind it, right?
Is that a
That's the
separate
one separate where Keeney lives, no feedlot there, yeah.
You just combine them at the same time right away?
I would recommend that we go ahead and combine them. They were two separate roads, so we had them as two separate activities. But it was the one trip with the one recommendation as to the number.
So I'll make a motion to include both item J and item M as one motion.
In the next meeting right away, can I?
So you would send your first motion, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, we gotta rescind it in a new motion for removal of speed bumps, which is item J and item M,
Yes, sir.
which are on Chambon, Avenida de Limitar, and Chambon and Severo Vigil Road. All in favor, and a second from Commissioner Montoya, all in favor? Aye. Second, opposed, none. Motion's passed, no more speed bumps. Well,
I want what he has.
yeah. All right. Okay, consideration of memorandum of agreement with Rocky Mountain Youth Corps for a fuel break project and delegation of authority to approve contract.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So we have that project going on in the BOCC where we are building fuel breaks to go ahead and stop the spread of wildfire in that area. And when we got the grant funding, one of the opportunities that we're looking at is the use of RISE to help out with some of that. However, there may not be enough RISE participants, or this is Plan B, is what's being presented to you here tonight. Is number one, it gives us an idea of what the charge is going to be, but also if we come into a situation that we go ahead and need to take action quickly, we can go ahead and negotiate this contract that's already been set in place with the Rocky Mountain Youth Corps. So what we're requesting of you tonight is the ability to, if it needs to be signed and implemented, to go ahead and take that step at that time so that we can move forward with the fuel reduction that has to occur by the end of June 30th, 2026.
So the RISE program is who?
So the RISE program is going to be the program that we have through the detention center. So this is part of their training that we're getting them this year, is how to operate chainsaws and to be able to work with forestry.
And the Rocky Mountain Youth Group is what?
That is a totally separate entity. And so they have submitted a proposal as to what it would cost for them.
Well, what type, who's involved in it? Because it says youth groups and that's what I wanted to know.
Let me go ahead and turn that over to Marina Hine at this time, who will be able to explain more about what Rocky Mountain Youth Corp is.
I think I know what it is, but I just like to hear.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Hello, Commissioner. So my name is Marina Hine. I am the Grant and Research Coordinator for the Office of Emergency Management. Rocky Mountain Youth Corps is a group that is partially grant funded, partially federally funded, and they do job training. Is this thing on?
It is.
Okay. And they do job training for young adults and newly graduated high schoolers. And they mainly do contracts for fuel reduction projects. And so they are really good. They are really efficient. They are looking to be more active in Morrow County. And I met one of their field crew managers, and they would be an amazing asset to have do one of our fire breaks, because then as our RISE participants get trained in this program, which this year is phase 1, probably a 5 to 10 year program to do fire breaks in the BOCC. The one fire break done by Rocky Mountain Youth Corps can be the example that they look at. And so the update for the RISE program is the Sawyer training is scheduled for the 20th through 23rd of this month. And they will be beginning on, when they actually get chainsaws in their hands, they will be practicing out on one of the first fire breaks later this month. Yeah.
What I wanted to hear is what you said, youth wanting to work. Thank you so much.
That's what they are, and they're a good crew. They're really fast, and this is their A team. So during the winter times, it's only their crew leaders that they keep on staff. So they do fast, good work. Yeah.
And you look quite youthful. That's all I can say. I thought you were like, what? But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, thank you so much, commissioners, and I'd like to thank Andy for listening to my idea when I brought it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by myself, a second from Commissioner Aguilar for item, which one was it?
Okay.
K. Rocky Mountain Youth gonna help out young people. Good. All in favor? Opposed? None. Okay, passes. L, consideration of flood permit fee pursuant to ordinance 2016-03 flood damage prevention.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. What this one is, we currently have a very active floodplain manager, and we currently have an individual who's able to go out on site with some of these new buildings that they're wanting to do to be able to assess the potential of flooding and looking at the flood map to determine what's going on. One of the issues that has arisen, because it does take him to travel out there, we currently have nothing in the budget pertaining to travel for the floodplain manager. So what we would be seeking would be somewhere in the neighborhood of a $20 to $25 fee for the permit, which would fall in line with some of our other permit fees, but we currently don't have any fee for these permits for him to go out and do that research.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion for Commissioner Monette, second for Commissioner Aguilar for the
Did we decide on what a fee would be?
The 25.
25.
I'll make that part of my motion. Yeah.
for $25 flood permit fee. Ordinance number 2016-03. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Permit fee approved. Item M, approval to remove selected speed humps on.
We already
Glory
did
Did- Number 9, consideration of resolution 2025-61 BLM Quebradas Road.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is a resolution that we drafted up to try to get us over the hump pertaining to the maintenance of Quebradas Road. And one of the issues is the fight over who owns the road, who's able to say what maintenance looks like on the road. So we would be, as Socorro County, asking BLM for them to deed over to us the right of way of the road that they currently maintain. Once we have the right of way, then it would come under our auspices, and come 2026, we could put it on the maintained road list.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I received a call today from Matt Tencio, who runs the local BLM office, and they're currently on furlough. As we all know, the Fed is shut down, and they were unaware of this. And he said he would like to have conversations before anything was done on this. With that, I think us being good partners, we need to work with them, and I would make a motion to table at this time.
Second.
So got a motion to table resolution 2025-64 from Commissioner Monette, a second from Commissioner Zacatero. All in favor? Aye.
So.
I would like to also say, if I could, that he said he'd be here tonight, but they frown upon federal employees going to public meetings when they're on furlough. So he says it was not in his best interest to be here this evening.
We wanted to call it
Yeah.
for the public meeting. They're like,
I got a question.
Sure.
Are we able to maintain this before we do any action with this? Can we start maintaining the road?
I would say yes and ask forgiveness later, but that's just not, but
Yeah, this road currently is not on the maintained road list for this year because of budgetary and equipment and other issues pertaining to who has the final say as to what any type of maintenance looks like on the road. And so currently what this is trying to do is to get us prepared to be able to do something hopefully in 2026. Although this year BLM, they were supposed to start doing some of that maintenance on it, but that hasn't occurred yet.
What is the stretch in terms of the distance we're talking about?
It's right at about 25 to 27 miles.
I know the 25 to 27 is it all as
That is
been? The whole 27 miles is described earlier today, I guess.
Well, a lot of it can take a lot of fill dirt and build up and stuff, because over the years of maintaining it, the land's higher than the road in a lot of places.
Yeah, it's one that once you, so getting to Donna's house, there's approximately a 40-foot arroyo that has never had anything done to it. That's going to take quite a bit of engineering to figure out exactly how to be able to cross that section. And then when you first start on Quebradas Road and you do the climb right off of BOCC Road, up at the top of that section, there's a couple of old culverts that were installed long, long ago that currently aren't doing what they were originally designed to do. So this is going to be a very, very expensive and timely road.
Which I would like to, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I think that goes back to what Commissioner Montoya was pointing out, that if we can't afford to do it, why would we even want to try and take it on? But
So the motion was to table in a second.
And the directive behind the motion was to, are you directing advising our manager to talk with BLM?
I will continue conversations with BLM and get the manager involved. That is okay.
Thank you, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution 2025-61 is tabled. Consideration of resolution 2025-62 New Mexico County's legislative priorities.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. What you have before you is every year New Mexico counties comes with their legislative priorities. We have gone ahead and put them into a resolution for formal adoption by this board to support New Mexico counties.
Mr. Chairman, if I could elaborate on that a little bit. A lot of it is like detention center funding when we have state prisoners and stuff, you know, it's trying to get the state to pay their fair share. So I'm in total support of their priorities to make the motion to approve.
Second. Motion from Commissioner Monette, second from Commissioner Montoya for Resolution 2025-62, New Mexico County's legislative priorities. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Question.
Go ahead.
The, what tab can I find that in?
I think it's tab L, maybe?
Okay. Thank you. iPad jumps. Thank you. Very nice.
Did you have a question? No?
Oh, no, that was my question.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None. Resolution 2025-62 passes. Consideration of Resolution 2025-63 supporting the continued inclusion of the Alamo chapter in the Navajo Nation's contract for BIA policy patrol services.
Mr. Chairman, I'll introduce this and then Commissioner Secretarial may have some additional changes. Commissioner Secretarial contacted me and we discussed this issue. Basically, what it is the Navajo Nation has historically contracted with basically the BIA, for their policing service to do patrols throughout the Navajo Nation in different chapters and areas. And that, it's been going on since 1993, which that's why it's PL 93. This year, we've learned that the Navajo Nation, and currently in some of their committees, is considering striking both To'Hajiilee and Alamo from the patrol list. And of course, doing that, I have no idea why they would want to do it in the first place, but I guess they're saving money. But if they do that, that reduces what we already don't have very much of, which is a good law enforcement presence, and places a lot of burden on our sheriff's office with their cross commission to, a lot of policing that we're going to have to also pick up. So, as a good community partner and also part of the county, I think it's appropriate to approve a resolution and send it to the Navajo Nation saying, don't take us off the list just, for your budget cuts. But Mr. Secretary, maybe you want to expand on it.
Yeah, it just the possibilities in regards to Alamo and also To'Hajiilee being strike. There's going to be nobody in regards to policing, and in terms of cross commissioning, Mr. Attorney Nass and I were talking with it. So who would we cross commission with? So if we're striked from that. So in terms of I did speak to a couple of councilmen, in fact, councilwomen, in regards to the legislation has not reached law and order yet, so it has not been finalized. She did mention that there was an addendum in regards to that's coming down the pipe in regards to that legislation, but she wouldn't specify what the addendum is. And people that are for the legislation, in terms of they kind of just kind of brush it under the rug, so to speak, is their response is, we just copy and paste from cycle to cycle. So I pulled up a couple legislations previous time, and it does not say that. So So, hopefully, like I said, hopefully, that addendum is to add Alamo and Toahasley back to the service area. So we'll see, we'll continue to wait, but most definitely, I would really appreciate the resolution that we could send an application.
Who's proposing to cut them out?
The legislation, this application, yeah.
The legislators or?
The Winter Rock.
Now, what's the president have to say about it?
Well, the president made his appearance this weekend, and he was very quick to hi bye through his stuff at the parade and said hi and bye.
And your council delegate not helping you?
Well, he is one of the ones that says, well, we just copy and paste, and so it's just formality. And I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. So it's just been, depending on who I talk to and depending on which side of the room they sit, that's what it comes down to. So, and I also reached out to the sheriff as well in terms of say, hey, this is a possibility. I mean, this is something very, very serious that we're looking at. And in terms of Navajo Nation, from Alamo, we can't sue them in terms of now if that does happen, then we can pick a bone with BIE, but all of that is going to go through litigation. By the time we finally get to some sort of solution, it's going to be time to renew that MOU again.
Do you have any idea how close they are to actually implementing this?
Well, like I said, they have not had the final meeting yet in Law and Order Committee, so I'm not sure in terms of where it's at right now. But I will keep, most definitely, I'll keep calling people in regards to just to keep pulse on it. So, yeah, is this very quick one day? I was like,
that's too bad. It's a shame.
Yeah. So, but I would appreciate it, gentlemen.
Do you want to make a motion?
Somebody make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Motion from Commissioner Secretero and a second from Commissioner Aguilar for approval of resolution 2025-63. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Resolution 2025-63 passes. Q. Approval of student activities funding application for Ms. Alamo pursuant to resolution 2025-51.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We have an informal request from Ms. Alamo for support. We don't have anything formally in hand yet requesting money. What I'm coming here forward to do is so we can expedite the process to where if she does submit the paperwork, you guys have already approved it up to the $1,000 that would be able to be donated pursuant to that policy with the understanding that the road cleanup has to occur.
So in terms of when you say informal, I mean, what are you exactly talking about?
We had a phone call from not Miss Alamo, but somebody affiliated with the Miss Alamo that asked for funds from the county. So the way that we would be able to give funds to Miss Alamo would be through the 2025-51 resolution.
Do you know exactly who it is?
I do not have the name here with me right now.
And the money was for?
Yeah, what's it for?
So it would be to support Miss Alamo in her yearly activities for transportation to different events.
And Mr. Chairman, I certainly think that fits the criteria, as a student.
Yeah.
I think what we need to make sure of with the resolution is that to the resolution, an organization needs to be responsible for those funds. It can be an informal organization, but we can't just give it to Miss Alamo. It needs to be the Alamo something, whatever it might be. But hopefully, if it's approved, then if they properly, if they come out with an organization, again, it can be a student club, right. But it does have to be an organization because we need to issue a W-9.
And to me, Miss Alamo is one person, and I'm thinking when it comes time to the cleanup, hopefully it just won't be her cleaning up.
Hopefully more people will help.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion for the approval of funding application for Miss Alamo pursuant to resolution 2025-51. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of use of $150,000 fiscal year, $150,000 fiscal year 26 FFRF grant for firefighter position.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So the county was issued a $150,000 grant. The bad news is it can only be used for salary for a newly created firefighter position and or positions. It's a one-time non-recurring payment. In other words, most of these times with those other grants, it would be 100% the first year, 75% the second year, 50% the third year. With this one, there is no second or third year. So the question for us then is going to be, right now, there's a need with some of our outlying districts, particularly San Antonio Fire District and Northern Fire District. We would be able to create firefighting positions and utilizing this $150,000, but they would basically be grant positions. In other words, they're not going to be employees of the county because there is no recurring salary for them. So we would have to create term positions. So they're contract employed. So the question is going to become is if we create these positions, then if we were going to continue them, it would all have to come out of the general fund in future years to where there's currently not the salary to support those in the future years. So what I'm coming forward to tonight is to get some feedback and some direction as to what the board would like to see with these positions, if anything, and how we would go about trying to structure it, because all of this funding is going to end on June 30th, 2026.
If I may, sir.
Sure.
I think we need to really reconsider this whole, I know it's a great thing, but in terms of I do have several questions in regards to the fire department, and then especially the San Antonio. But like I said, if we may, maybe we can have a discussion before we proceed.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Similar along those lines as Commissioner Secretarial said, I'd like, since Mr. Berger is the one that is overseeing these, I believe, I'd like to see what he thinks needs to be done with this money if we decide to take it, and have him present his plan with us and let us see if we feel that's a good fit or not. I don't feel we're in a position to do that, and I think we're trying to micromanage a fire department by doing the job that they were hired to do and let them tell us where they need the money and what people they need to use it for.
I have a comment that 150,000, is that the same thing that was in the legislative priorities? I saw that in there, it was like number 4.
It's for recruitment and retention.
Recruitment and retention. Is that where this money came from? No?
This one is not from legislative priorities. This one is, it's a secondary account that was set up through the fire funds for recruitment and retention of firefighters.
Yes. I'm in agreement with what you guys are saying. From what I hear and see of the local fire departments, how do I say that? The recruitment's down. I mean, volunteers down, and the chiefs are coming and going. So if the money could be used to fix that, hire a position, of course, that's an experienced person that can go and help the existing chiefs and stuff and give some guidance on how to do things. I think that's probably where the money should go instead of hiring positions and it's just not a functioning department.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what we were hoping, that there wouldn't be these restrictions placed on this money, because the initial plan was to be able to have retention bonuses as well as to have different training programs for all of the volunteers. But unfortunately, when the money came with those strings attached, it specifically said it could only be for salary and none of it could be used for training for bonuses or for different programs that we need within those fire departments itself to really try to get more recruiting efforts. Because the other thing that we also wanted to try to do then is, if the money would have allowed us to, was to get a training program in the school system. So we have a junior firefighter program going through them. So we start training as well. But that's one of the limitations that we wanted to bring to you tonight, is when the state just released how the money can be spent, it's restrictive only for salary.
And a new hire, did you say? A new hire?
Yes, be a new hire.
Could you hire a trainer for 1 year and have him work with the volunteer fire department?
That's the line.
That's what you were thinking?
Yeah, that's a line that was, we could. I mean, you know, it's not our department. If they say, if it comes and gives us that input.
I think most definitely we should pass the,
This has to be spent by July?
Correct.
So it's not even a year.
It's not even a year.
We're
We're
talking 6
basically
months.
having 6 to 7 months of this money that, yeah, they were so late in giving that. So what was it, 3 months ago, I came to you that said, hey, we're getting this money, but the state didn't actually give us how to spend it until just recently. And so this is one of those things, and it's like, yeah, we're going to have this money, but it's basically only for a 6-month time period is all that we have to use it.
the, question.
Sure.
In terms of all the fire stations, do we have everybody man the fire stations right at this point?
We have them manned, but we are still way down. We have been able to increase specifically Northern District. We are well above where we were a year ago. There's still room for more growth, but right now we're able to respond to every call. There in San Antonio, we're still looking at a situation where we're not responding to most calls. That in order to respond to San Antonio right now, we're sending firefighters from our Annex 2 building to be able to go down to San Antonio. Now at night, we're able to respond to different fires and calls better down in San Antonio. But the problem still is during the daytime, there still aren't enough volunteers there to be able to man those calls.
So why is there, like at night, I mean, do we have somebody staying there at the firehouse?
So one of the things that occurred is over the last 2 years, there was no work being done at the firehouse. The engines were not maintained, and we had feces and everything else throughout that building that is absolutely disgusting. So what we actually have occurring right now is, yes, we have an individual that is a firefighter and county employee that is currently manning the station at night so that we are able to, 1, do upkeep on all the equipment, 2, keep the station clean, as well as keep everything organized, and 3, and most importantly, is responding to emergency phone calls.
And how long has this been happening? The guy or the county employee has been at the fire station?
Right at about 2 to 2.5 months is when we initially requested from the county attorney to review if we were able to have somebody man the station. And then it also has the approval within the last month from the state fire marshal's office approving the use of the station to be able to have it manned at night.
Okay. And how long ago was this guy hired? 2.5 months, 3 months?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, gentlemen, in regards to all the people that we have hired, I don't think we have offered any free room and board to anyone else. I don't think that's fair to all the other employees that we've hired. I think we should really reconsider this in regards to what's happening at San Antonio. Just my thought.
Well, I think if it's a benefit to the public in San Antonio to have somebody there, I think it's a positive thing. I don't see the problem.
And just as a point of clarification, So room and board. Room pertains to somebody staying in the facility. Board would pertain to feeding them. So right now, we're just looking at room, not board.
Okay, so how did this guy, I mean, did we seek him out? How do we come across this situation?
This was a situation that Fred Berger, in trying to figure out how to tackle and bring the San Antonio station up to code so that we would qualify for funds. Because one of the things that happened is San Antonio was in such disarray that this year they are on probation. So it means that we are not able to seek any type of state fire fund grants for the San Antonio station. And because of that, it also means that our Socorro Annex office, we're not able to seek any fire fund grants either. So until we bring San Antonio up to be able to meet all the requirements of the state fire marshal's office, we are ineligible for right now approximately $600,000 of grant money that we could potentially access to upgrade the equipment. So it's a conversation that Fred Berger had with individuals down there trying to figure out how we're going to get that station into compliance.
You're not understanding my question in regards to, so everybody that applies for a county job, and so we say, hey, do you want to be our fire? Do you want to be a fire volunteer? Is that what we say?
Currently, we have a standing that anybody in Socorro County that we talk to, we're asking everybody if they would like to be a volunteer for the fire departments. So it's not just Socorro County employees that are being asked to be volunteers. Rather, it's a standing request that we make to any able-bodied individual that wants to assist.
Okay. Still, I think, gentlemen, in my opinion, I think providing room, especially for the past 2 months, for someone to get on his or her feet, I think is enough time. So I think we really need to reconsider this.
And just if I may, with that clarification, this is not so an individual can get on their feet. This was specifically so we could respond to after hours emergency calls that are coming into San Antonio. Has nothing to do with whether or not the individual is either on their feet, off their feet. It's how are we going to respond to phone calls?
How do we come across this situation?
We came across this situation because unfortunately, individuals that were manning these stations did not do their due diligence and what they needed to do to keep us in compliance. And we were left in an emergency situation where drastic action is required so that we can now hopefully qualify within the next year of meeting the statutory requirements in these fire stations.
So this guy just came to you and said, hey, Andy, I'll be your volunteer if I stay at your place.
That is incorrect, sir. They never came to me. It came to me after the conversations with Fred Berger that we took to the county attorney.
So not to interrupt, but so I think the question was, how did this individual get to that position? How was he hired? Who obtained him, and how did he get to be the one in the station?
Those were conversations directly with Fred Berger when Fred was trying to figure out how to do everything.
So he was hired by Fred and appointed to do or they came to an agreement that he would man this station.
Correct. Only after Fred came to me with the idea and concept that we then took to the county attorney and said, is this something that we could do?
Now, is he a county employee or is he a volunteer that is staying at the department?
He was first a volunteer firefighter who later became a county employee. He was not a county employee at the time.
Okay, I think we can move on from that subject. We address it later. It's not on the agenda. R, approval of, okay, so we're on that R. So, yeah, until we hear back from Fred, his thoughts are on how he could possibly spend this money. I don't say you can spend $150,000 in the firefighter. Well, I know you could, but that's before my time.
Everything was before your time.
Yeah, so we're tabling that, I guess. Motion to table it,
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Table R. Reconciliation of 9/11 Freedom Run and forwarding of proceeds to Tunnel to Towers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is the activity through the Emergency Management Office where we had the 5K race. So at this time, I'll call up Emergency Management to provide the final numbers from that event.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Adam Steinke. I'm the communication coordinator for Socorro County Emergency Management. Heather Donaldson was supposed to be present with numbers for that. She is not here tonight. She had some flooding at her property and was trying to fix that up tonight. So I don't have the actual numbers for you. Ballpark, we were around, I believe, $4,300 is what we had raised for that event.
So at this time, what we'll have to do, because in order for us to submit the money to the entity with whom it was accepted, is we actually have to have a closing of the books. So at this time, I would request that we're going to have to table this one and roll it over to next meeting so that we get the final numbers, because without those final numbers, you don't have anything to base your decision on.
So we'll go ahead and table item R.
Second.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Aguilar, Commissioner Monette for the tabling of item 7, reconciliation of 9/11 Freedom Run. Item T, approval of intergovernmental agreement with administrative offices of the courts for Socorro County to act as accountable entity for behavioral health reform and investment act funding opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So this is in regard to, previously we talked about SB3, and SB3 is going to be the behavioral health reform. So Socorro County was selected by our neighboring counties to act as the chair for these events. And so we would be the ones getting the now $50,000 to be able to have the community meetings in the different counties to put together our planning council. So once we get the planning council put together, it's that planning council that then determines where the funds then go in the different counties and what the priorities are going to be. So we have the intergovernmental agreement in hand, and we're just seeking permission of the board for me to be able to sign that agreement.
Make the motion to approve. Second. Motion by myself, second by Commissioner Montoya for the approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the administrative office of the courts of Socorro County. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. You acknowledge personnel changes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
There's only one. It's Sammy Vega, manager's office, resigned.
Make a motion with the approval of resignation of Sammy Vega.
I have a question.
Sure.
This question for manager. I read an email in regards to the email that you sent out. I don't know, maybe if I'm missing something, you know, for me, if my right-hand person, the finance director, stepped away, you know, resigned, I would be on my phone to my commissioners. And I was just, you know, time in and time out, you have not reached out to me in regards to anything up to this point. And I can pull up this email if you want. I don't know why you're not reaching out.
With all due respect, Commissioner Secretarial, that is not the truth. So what I will do right now, if you would like, I will pull up the phone call record that shows that I did attempt to reach out to you. Oh, every other commissioner, I was able to have a personal one-on-one communication with.
But still, again, there has not been, you know, time in and time out. I sat here and I waited for you to call it, but nothing. So I don't know, I just wanted to make that point, make that very clear to everybody that, like I said, I never got that call. It's not pulling up my contact. That's only one call.
You can discuss it.
That's just a screenshot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So is there a motion for the approval of the resignation?
We made the motion in a second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That means resign. All right, 12, financial action items. These are usually put together,
Yes.
A and B.
I'd like to make a motion in regards to the approval of vendor checks and also including the approved payroll checks. Items 12A and 12B. 12A in regards to vendor checks dated for October 10th in the amount of $1,697,590.48. And 12B, approved payroll checks dated for September 4th, $253,566.41, and one dated for September 18th for the amount of $421,743.88, totaling the payroll checks for September 4th and 18th in the amount of $675,310.29.
I'll second that. Got a motion from Commissioner Secretario, and a second from myself for the approval of vendor checks and payroll checks. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? In the bills. Item 13, motion and roll call vote to go into executive session and that pursuant to New Mexico State Statute, Section 10-15-1, only the following matter will be discussed in closed session. Real property, 10-15-1, personal, 10-15-1. The other one has 8. This one has 2. Finance director, personnel matter, finance director, 2, county manager. C, pending or litigation, threatened litigation. Roll call vote.
Chairman Joe Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Craig Secretarial,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner John Aguilar,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Danny Monette,
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Montoya.
Yes.
Can we win again? Floating. I already did.
Okay, motion and roll call vote. Back in the regular session.
Chairman Joe Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Craig Fitzgerald, Commissioner John Aguilar,
Yes, ma'am.
Daniel Net,
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Montoya,
Yes.
After consideration of county manager's contract, we made a motion to table it to a special meeting on.
Need a motion.
We need a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we have a special meeting on October 30th at 5 o'clock in its location.
Thursday.
Yes, sir.
That's the day before Halloween. I'll second that. You got a motion from Commissioner Monette, a second from Commissioner Montoya to table the manager's contract to a special meeting on October 30th at 5 o'clock at this location. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. Chair, just on an administrative technical matter, for the meeting on the 30th, do you want any of the tabled items to be rolled over to that meeting? Or do we want to just leave it as the sole item for that meeting?
I think just a sole item. No? Yeah, what did we table?
There's a few.
3 of them. It's only 2 weeks, so let's leave the one item.
Yeah, just what we talked about.
Okay, this is your turn, Mike.
So the next commission meeting is actually special meeting October 30th at 5 o'clock. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman. Ladies.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.